Hello, I'm Sifu Lamar Davis II. I would like to welcome you to my series on Bruce Lee's martial art, Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do Complete. The purpose of these instructional videos is to go more in depth than anyone previously has into the study of Bruce Lee's fighting method. In these tapes, not only will you see the how, but you'll see the why and the when. Most of you have probably seen books and other instructional videos on Jeet Kune Do. Certain elements of these books, certain elements of these videotapes probably sort of left you in the dark. You could not tell by the photo sequences how the technique would actually be applied, or you could not tell by the video all the various ways that a technique could be used. In this series, we will go extremely in-depth onto all areas of training. My background in Bruce Lee's fighting method goes back to the mid-70s. I trained with 8 of Bruce Lee's original students. I'm very familiar with the material from the Seattle period, the Oakland period, and the Chinatown period. I've written articles for Black Belt, Inside Kung Fu, Inside Karate, with many more to come. In 1991, I was inducted into the World Martial Arts Hall of Fame as the Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do Instructor of the Year. I think you'll see, when you watch these tapes, that myself and my students definitely know what we're doing. I think you'll learn a lot from the tapes if you study them carefully and train hard. I'm the Executive Director of the United States Jeet Kune Do Alliance. If you're not already a member and you are seriously interested in Bruce Lee's fighting method, membership is something that you may want to consider. Student membership is only $25 per year, renewable each year in the month that you originally joined. You get a newsletter, you get special offers, discounts on instructional videotapes like this one, and many other things that are not open to outsiders. We also have training camps each year, usually 2 or 3 times a year, for anyone who's interested in becoming an instructor of Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do. We promote the original method as taught by Bruce Lee. Where Bruce Lee died, that's where we end. We do, however, encourage, once you have completed our program, if you would like to go out on your own and maybe even go into the concepts route, that's fine. But many people were never given the chance to learn what Bruce Lee originally had to offer. That's the purpose of the United States Jeet Kune Do Alliance. We want to give you that chance. If you're interested in membership, you can write to me, Sifu Lamar Davis II, at 267 West Valley Avenue, suite number 223, Birmingham, Alabama, zip code 35209. We will send you an application and we will send you some information. If you would like to call about seminars or membership, area code 205-664-5425. You'll reach the office of my training academy, the Fighting Dragons Chinese Martial Arts Academy, which is the most complete Chinese martial arts training facility in the state of Alabama. If you're interested in USJKDA membership, please contact me and become a part of everything that we're doing. I would like to talk to you a little bit about the history of Jun Fan Kung Fu and Jeet Kune Do. As most of you probably already know, Bruce Lee started out training in the system of Wing Chun. He trained in Hong Kong under the tutelage of Yip Man and 2 of his primary students, Wong Shun Lung and Chung Chuk Hing. Most of you know Chung Chuk Hing as William Chung. When Bruce first came to the United States, what he taught was primarily Wing Chun with a little bit of kicking and other techniques from some of the other systems of Chinese Kung Fu, primarily Northern style Chinese Kung Fu kicking due to the fact that most of the kicking in the Wing Chun system consisted of from the waist down. Bruce wanted to broaden his kicking and make his use of the legs much more functional for combative purposes. During the Seattle period, Bruce taught such prominent people as Taki Kimura, Jesse Glover, James DeMille, Joseph Cowles, who was one of my instructors. Today, you can closely see what Bruce was teaching during the Seattle period by watching such people as Jesse Glover. Jesse has a series of tapes out that are excellent that cover certain aspects of non-classical Chinese Kung Fu. Jesse was also one of my instructors. When Bruce left the Seattle period, the Oakland period began. He resided in Oakland, California with James Yim Lee, who became one of his most ardent students. James Lee was responsible for building a lot of the training equipment that later was made famous by Bruce. During the Oakland period, you saw the addition of several techniques from boxing. You saw the addition of some fencing footwork and fencing defensive theory. You also saw some elements from certain other aspects of martial arts integrated into Jeet Kune Do. Basically, it was the Oakland period which the term Jeet Kune Do came into use. From the Oakland period, Bruce went to LA Chinatown and opened a school there. From the Chinatown period, certain prominent students that you will recognize would be Dan Inosanto, Ted Wong, Jerry Poteet, Daniel Lee, people of this nature. During this period, Jeet Kune Do reached its highest level of development and became a very, very, very combative system, as it always had been, but some of you have probably heard of a conflict that Bruce had during the Oakland period that forced him to make some changes in the original Junfan Kung Fu. Thus, Jeet Kune Do was born. Many people have referred to Jeet Kune Do as Chinese Kung Fu. Many people have referred to it as Chinese kickboxing. That's not really the important thing here. The important thing is that you realize that it was the method founded by Bruce Lee. Now, in this series of tapes, I intend to cover the techniques from the Seattle period, the Oakland period, and the LA Chinatown period in depth. Tapes in this series will be basics, like basic foundation movements, which will cover stance, defensive theory, basic concepts, things of that nature. You will see a technique on tape on hand techniques, a tape on kicking techniques. You'll see tapes on the 5 ways of attack, basic trapping, advanced trapping, energy and sensitivity training, Seong Chi Sao, which is the double arm sticking. You'll see a tape on Seong Chi Sao with trapping and grappling. You'll see a tape on basic Jeet Kune Do self-defense techniques. You'll see a technique on grappling, a tape on grappling and counter-grappling. So these are some of the tapes that you'll see in this series. If you study them closely, you can learn quite a bit. And hopefully, if you acquire the entire series, you will be able to obtain a much more complete knowledge of Bruce Lee's art than you have at the present time. I think you'll enjoy the series, and I'm looking forward to working with you, and I hope that I can meet all of you in person one day and train you one-to-one. At this point, we'll get started. Welcome to Jeet Kune Do Volume 2, Footwork and Mobility. In this tape, we will cover the basic footwork and the basic mobility exercises that make Jeet Kune Do a highly mobile, highly effective system of combat, both offensively and defensively. Before we begin the actual footwork training, it's necessary that you have a basic understanding of the Jeet Kune Do fighting on guard position. This position uses what's referred to as an angular alignment. meaning that the feet are going to be on an angle in relation to the center line. The lead foot points into the line at about a 45-degree angle. Jeet Kune Do advocates the power side forward. My right side is my power side, so I put that foot to the front. Okay, that foot points into the line roughly at a 45-degree angle and remains to the right of the center line. The left foot points away from the center line at roughly a 45-degree angle and remains to the left side of the center line. Now that foot can also turn to face a little bit more to the front, like so, which is, for the most part, somewhat more effective than turning it out this way. Do not, however, make the mistake of turning it all the way out to the side, like so, because this weakens the ankle and it makes it hard for you to push off to the front with effective ankle strength. Okay, so we turn it around like so. The knees are bent. The rear heel is raised. The weight distribution is 50-50, about the same amount of weight on each foot. Now, the feet are going to be approximately shoulder width and a half apart. Okay, now we move to the trunk and the upper body. Okay, the upper body should be erect. Not leaning forward, not leaning backward, but erect. That way if you have to move forward or move backward, you can do it, and you're not in a stressful position that will tire out your trunk area muscles quickly. Okay, the elbows are in and down. The lead hand is going to be about a foot in front of the rear hand. The rear hand is going to be just below the chin and inside the shoulder. Neither hand is going to be completely closed or completely open. You're going to be in between, ready to go either way. Okay? All right, now the head tilts slightly downward and faces straight ahead, like so. So, looking at it from the front, this is what the Jeet Kune Do fighting on guard position looks like. Looking at it from the side, looking at it from the rear, and from the other side. Now, this is the position that we will work from for all of the upcoming footwork drills that you'll be learning, all the basic movements that you're going to be training. So, you need a basic understanding of this position. If you didn't see Volume 1, review that again so you have a basic understanding of the position. Now, in the next sequence, we're going to go into beginning level basic Jeet Kune Do footwork, and we'll be working on what's referred to as the push shuffle. Okay, the first thing that we're going to cover is what we refer to as the push shuffle, also sometimes referred to as step and slide. Okay, now, once again, I'll use the tape to represent the center line. Okay, this movement is either a forward movement or a backward movement. If I move forward, the lead foot steps and the rear foot slides. Therefore, the term step and slide. Okay, so I step and then I slide. All right, now if I'm moving backward, the rear foot steps and the lead foot slides. I step and then I slide. Okay, so moving forward, step, slide, moving backward, step, slide, step, slide. Okay, now you'll notice that this movement does not cover a lot of distance. Okay, I'm going to put my toe on the line and I'm going to work from here so you can see how much distance I actually cover with this basic push shuffle. Once again, step, slide. Okay, see, I covered about a foot with that push shuffle. Step, slide. Okay, you can cover as little as 6 inches if you want to. Okay, so it fluctuates. But in this particular movement, I cover approximately a foot with the step and slide. Okay, by the same token, moving backward from the fighting stance, step, slide. Once again, I covered approximately a foot. Okay, forward, step, slide, backward, step, slide. Forward, step, slide, backward, step, slide. Notice when I do this, I try to maintain a constant head level. In other words, I don't go like that, nor do I go like that, because these are signs that I'm coming at you. Okay, watch this. Okay? Now see, this time my head level is dipping as I move towards you. This lets you know that there's a major change in my movement. Okay, now watch this. Okay, this time my head level is fluctuating by raising as I move in. This lets you know that I'm coming also. These are telegraphic. In Jeet Kune Do, we strive constantly for non-telegraphic motion. So this is what it should actually look like. The head should maintain basically a constant level as I move in with this. Okay, from the side. Same way moving backward, constant level. I'll be joined at this time by my assistant instructor, Mr. Mark Turkwitt, and I'll demonstrate one way that we drill this footwork pattern. First, Mark will face you on the center line. These sticks we use to get a beat, like so. Now, he will respond to that beat. If he gets one beat, he will move one time. If he gets two beats, he will move two times. Now, he's going to constantly be moving front, back, okay? So, if he gets, first we usually move to the front. So, if he gets one beat, he'll move to the front. All right, then if he gets one beat, he'll move to the back. Then if he gets two beats, he'll go front, back. Okay, now, so this will tell you that the next time he moves, he should move to the front. That's how the drill works. Okay, now, I'm going to do the beats with a stick, and he's going to do the movement. Watch closely. You ready? Good. Now turn face me. Okay, now I'll let you see the drill from the side. Once again, I'll do the beat with a stick, Mark will respond. Moving first to the front. You ready? Notice his upper body, notice the hands remain on guard. He does not let the hands drop. That's very important. Notice he maintains the rear heel raised position. That also is very important. Notice that when the front foot moves a certain distance, the back foot moves the same distance. When the back foot moves a certain distance, the front foot moves the same distance. That also is very important. Consistency in the pattern. If done correctly, that assures that your width between the feet is always correct. Very good, Mark. Okay, now, that is the basic push shuffle or step and slide footwork pattern. Now, in the next sequence, we will be covering what is referred to as the pendulum. We will be covering the pendulum. Now, the pendulum, once again, is a forward and backward movement. That's what we'll do in the next sequence. In this sequence, we'll be covering what is referred to as the pendulum step. We will concentrate first on the half pendulum. Later, you'll see what's referred to as a full pendulum. But at this time, we're going to concentrate on the half pendulum. Okay, you have a forward movement and a backward movement. Okay, a lot of people do not realize what this footwork is for. You see it demonstrated on some Jeet Kune Do tapes. You see it demonstrated in some Jeet Kune Do books, but there is not a clear-cut explanation as to what these particular movements are for. Okay. During this sequence, I will explain to you exactly what these movements are for. So you'll know why you're doing it and you'll know exactly what you're doing. Okay, now, the pendulum footwork pattern is also referred to as slide and step because the slide portion of the movement comes first. Before we were doing step and slide. This time we're going to slide and step. Okay, now, this movement is a little bit quicker, okay? A little bit quicker. And it's going to cover approximately a distance the same as the width of your stance. Okay? All right, now if I'm moving forward with it, the rear foot is going to slide up, and then the lead foot steps out. If I'm moving backward with it, the lead foot's going to slide back, and the rear foot's going to step out. Okay? So forward, backward. Forward, backward. Okay? Like so. Okay, notice how I maintain my angular alignment. That's very important. Okay, I'll let you see that from the side. Okay, once again, using the take line as a starting point. Forward, backward. Forward, backward. Okay, notice that I keep my hands up. That's very important. Okay, some people, it's like they say, this is just a drill. I'm just drilling my footwork. So why should I worry about my hands? Because chances are, if you do it in training, you'll do it in the street. And that'll get you killed. You need to train to keep the hands up and on guard throughout the footwork. Okay, so notice when I move, my hands are up. I don't drop them. I don't just let them fall. Okay, that'll get you hurt quick. All right, now the forward half of this is normally used with a kick. Normally used with a kick, like so. A common example would be a side kick. Okay? Now, most people, when they've seen this before, all they see is, and they think that's all there is to it. This first part of the pendulum, the forward part, is actually to set you up for an effective kick. Like so. Okay? Notice how the side kick is very direct. Okay? No major preparatory movement. All right, this pendulum enables me to close the gap very quickly. That distance is closed very quickly. Okay? The rear portion of the pendulum is normally used as an evasive action. This gets me out of the way of a low line shot. Say there's a kick coming in at my knee, and I have to get out of the way of that kick. Okay? That'll get me out of the way quickly without wasting any motion and without any major setup. I'm here. I'm here. Okay? So the rear portion of the pendulum is an evasive action. You don't do this just to be doing it. You don't go just to be doing it, okay? It has a purpose. Just like the forward movement has a purpose. Okay, now I'll be joined by my assistant, Mr. Mark Turkwitt. Once again, using the sticks, we'll demonstrate how you drill this basic footwork pattern. On guard. Okay, once again, we're going to use the basic front-back pattern, moving first to the front. Now we're only working the footwork here. Only the footwork. Evade. Very good. Okay. On guard facing me. Now I'll show you the side view and how the drill should look from the side. Evade, moving first to the front. Okay, very good. Okay, now you can see the effectiveness of this. You can see how much distance is covered and how quickly that distance is covered. That's what this movement is for. It gets you there quick, it gets you out of the way quick. It gets you there with a kick very quickly, it gets you out of the way from a kick very quickly. Okay? So you have an offensive portion and an evasive portion to this movement. Okay, in the next segment, we'll cover what is referred to as sidestepping. In this segment, we'll cover sidestepping. Once again, from the basic Jeet Kune fighting on guard position, you can sidestep either right or you can sidestep left. Sidestepping right, the right foot will move first. Once again, sidestepping right, the right foot moves first. Notice that the head will sway and move out in line with the leg that's stepping. Okay? Sidestepping right, right foot moves first. Now, that's also true if your natural lead is left lead, like so. You're going to sidestep right, right foot still moves first, okay? So, a basic rule of sidestepping is to remember that when you sidestep, the foot that moves first is the foot closest to the direction that you want to go. So if you're sidestepping right, the right foot moves first. Now, if you're sidestepping left, the left foot moves first. Notice once again the sway of the head. When the leg goes out, the head goes out. Now, the reason for this is when you sidestep, you are evading. Okay? You are evading an incoming attack. Some people do not really understand the purpose of sidestepping. You are evading an incoming attack. So it's very important to get the head out of the way and get the head out of the way first. So when the leg moves out, when I'm sidestepping right, the head goes out in line with the leg. Can you see that? When I move to the right, the head goes out in line with the leg. Okay? When I'm moving left, once again, the head goes out in line with the leg. That way I get the head out of the way first. Now, if I were to break the rules and sidestep right and move the left foot first, notice that the head stays there. By the same token, if I were to sidestep left and move the right foot first, the head basically stays in the same position. Now, this will get you in trouble. This will get you hit. So when you train this, you need to concentrate on sidestepping right, right foot moves first. Sidestepping left, left foot moves first. That's very, very important. Okay, now, another thing that you want to concentrate on is varying the distance of your side steps. Sometimes you'll step as much as 1.5 feet. Other times you'll step as little as 6 inches. Okay, and that's whether I'm going right or whether I'm going left. Okay, sometimes it's got to be a bigger side step, sometimes it's a smaller side step. Okay, these things are very important. All right, remember this. Okay, now, once again, from the fighting on guard position, sidestepping left, I have two options here. I can either keep the hands in position or I can cover. Now, if I cover, if I'm sidestepping left, I'm evading a technique that's coming in at me like so. Say a punch is coming in at me, coming straight in at my face, and I've got to get out of the way. I'm going to slip it. Okay, now, since the punch is coming here, right down the center, and I'm going to slip it, my cover would move in this direction as if to protect against that punch coming in. Okay, so I'm here, I'm going to sidestep left, I'm going to avoid, say, a right straight punch coming at me. Okay, so I'm here, okay? Notice how the head got out of the way first, the hand covered, and I'm right back into the fighting on guard position. Okay, now with the right side step, same thing. This hand has to cover based on where the attack is coming. Let's say I'm being attacked by someone in a left lead who's firing a left straight punch, or in a right lead who's firing a left cross, okay? So I'm here, I move to the right, my head moves to the right, my hand comes up to cover, and I'm back in the fighting on guard position. So it's here, back in the fighting on guard position. Okay, so sometimes I may cover, sometimes I may not. All right? At this time, you may be asking the question, how do you know when to cover and when not to cover? It's up to you, okay? That's why when we drill it, we have to drill it both ways. Sometimes you cover, sometimes you don't. Okay, I'll let you see this from the side. Even though the most effective view of this is from the front, I still want you to see it from the side. This is what it would look like. Sidestepping right, sidestepping left. Sidestepping right without a cover, sidestepping left without a cover. Sidestepping right with a cover, sidestepping left with a cover. Okay? That's what it looks like. Okay, at this time I'll be joined by my assistant, Mr. Mark Turkwit, and he will demonstrate this particular footwork pattern once again using the sticks for the beat. Okay, fighting on guard position. Okay, pay attention to the line. Pay attention to the line. Okay, now he will either be sidestepping right or sidestepping left. Normally when we do this drill, we move to the right first. So once again, it's going to be back and forth. So in this case, it's going to be right, left, right, left. One click, one move, two clicks, two moves. You ready? Okay, now you'll notice sometimes Mark will cover, sometimes he won't cover. Notice the head getting out of the way first. Notice the hands maintaining a constant on guard position. Notice the quickness of the footwork in the double move. Turn, face me. On guard. And now we'll let you see the side view of it. Once again, notice the movement of the hands. Notice that the head gets out of the way first. You ready? Very good. Okay, now, as I've already said, remember that sidestepping is an evasive movement. If you're sidestepping right, the head moves out to the right in line with the leg. If you're sidestepping left, the head moves out to the left in line with the leg. There may be a cover, there may not be a cover. This would be based on the necessity for a cover, depending on what the opponent is doing, what kind of attack he's bringing to you. Okay, that's the basic sidestepping, basic right and left. Now we'll go on to the next sequence. In this sequence, we're going to cover what we refer to as the rocker shuffle. Okay, now, this movement is done to a 4 count. Most people make the mistake when doing the rocker shuffle by doing it to a 2 count. okay, but it is actually a 4 count. That 4 count is very important in this movement. Okay, I can initiate the rocker shuffle with forward or backward movement. Okay, if I initiate to the front foot moves first. If I initiate to the rear foot moves first. Okay, to the front it would look like this. Okay, that's the front initiation. To the rear it would look like this. That's the rear initiation. Okay, now, that was 2 of 4 counts that I just demonstrated to you each time there. This is the first 2 counts of the front movement. Okay, the first 2 counts of the rear initiation, like so. Okay, now, when you get the 4 count movement going, you're going to be 1, 2 up, 3, 4 back. Or if the initial move is to the rear, you're going to be 1, 2 back, 3, 4 up. Okay, so when we do this, initiating to the front, the first movement is to the front, but you see the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's very important. You can see this best to the side, so I'll show it to you from the side here. Okay, initiating to the front, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the 4 count. Notice I stay on my toes. Why do I stay on my toes? Because this movement is designed for lightness and quickness. This gets you in and gets you out real quick. This is when you see an opening, a slight opening, and you want to take it immediately. Okay, that's what this is for. Or when you want to fire a real fast initial move as a feint or a fake, as in attack by drawing, or as in progressive indirect attack. Okay, now, I'm going to initiate to the front. I'm just going to keep it going so you can see and hopefully be able to hear the 4 count. Okay, notice it's 1, 2 up, 3, 4 back. 1, 2 up, 3, 4 back. Notice I'm staying on my toes. I'm keeping it light and quick. Okay, like so. All right, now, if I'm initiating to the rear, that means the first movement is going to be the rear leg moving to the rear, like so. Okay, so that's the rear initiation. Now I'll do it and hold it so you can hear the 4 count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you're listening for. Now some people, when they do this, they have a hard time grasping that 4 count. What usually happens is a 2 count, which would look and sound like this. See, both feet are moving at the same time. Not good. That does not serve the purpose that we want this movement to serve. Remember, this is to get you in and get you back out very quickly. Okay, at this time I'll be joined by my assistant, Mr. Mark Turkwood, and we'll demonstrate the drill using the sticks. Okay, now in this drill, since you have to keep it going with a 4 count, when the sticks click the first time, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be constant. When they click the second time, he'll stop. Okay? Now the first time he'll initiate the movement to the front. The second time he'll initiate the movement to the rear. So this time, instead of front, back, or right, left, right, left, right, left, it'll be initiating to the front, initiating to the rear, initiating to the front, initiating to the rear. Okay, prepare to begin. Fighting on guard position. Initiating first to the front. You obey? Okay, good. Okay, now, turn and face me. Okay, once again, you're looking and listening for that 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how he's keeping it light, he's keeping it quick, he's keeping it on the balls of the feet. Initiating first with the front. You bake. Notice how sometimes I let him go long, sometimes I let him go short. That keeps him on his toes, that keeps him ready at all times. Okay, very good. Okay, now, that's how that works. Now, just watching it in the drill form, you may have a hard time seeing what it's for. Okay? You may have a hard time seeing that. So, with the help of my assistant, Mr. Turkwood, I'm going to demonstrate how this movement actually works in combat. Okay, Mark? Okay, this movement, once again, serves several purposes. The basic practice of this movement helps to increase the springiness of the foot, the explosiveness, the ability to explode off the raised rear heel, the ability to make that initial movement very quickly, very explosively. Okay. Also, it, as I said earlier, assists you in getting in and getting out quickly. And it serves very well in the purpose of a feint or progressive indirect attack, where your initial move needs to be light and quick, or when you need to be in and out. When you see that opening, you take it, and then you're gone. Okay, so assume a fighting position. Okay, let's say that he and I are engaged in combat. We faced off, like so, and I'm looking for an opening. Okay, let's say that for a brief instant, his lead hand raises, exposing the ribs on the lead side. And I want to take that very quickly, okay? Okay, notice how I'm in, I'm out. Okay, this is 1, 2, in, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, in, 3, 4, out. Notice how this hand covers. I will speed it up again, let you see it a little bit quicker. Okay, I saw the opening, I took it. Okay, so in, right back out immediately. Okay, so doing this drill increases the explosiveness of your footwork. It builds spring and power into the legs. Okay, another thing that we can do with this drill is initiate a feint or a fake to create an opening. On guard. Okay. If I want to attack the high line, but it's closed off, a good feint can sometimes give me that opening on the high line. If I feint low and can get him to respond, a lot of times I can take the high line off of the feint. Okay, so we're here. He's on guard. Okay, now I'm going to use this initial move. I'm just going to explode in, like so, to get him to respond. Then I'm going to just go from right here directly to my target, which is the jaw or the temple, with that back fist. It'll look like this. Okay, notice how I use that initial quickness that I've developed from doing that rocker shuffle in this drill. So it is good for developing the spring, it's developing the energy from the raised rear heel to enable you to spring forward rapidly. Okay? All right, that's the rocker shuffle. Now we'll go on to the next sequence. In this sequence, we're going to demonstrate what is referred to as the burning step. When you think about this, you may be thinking, burning step, well, that's an awfully strange name for a technique. Or that really sounds funny. Why would they call it a burning step? The thing here is the psychology, the mentality that you're trying to create with this footwork pattern. The way Bruce used to explain it to the students, in the Oakland Kune, which is where this particular move, the burning step, originated, was that what you do, you imagine that you're stepping onto something extremely hot. Hot coals, a stove eye, a hot plate, stepping into a fire. Just imagine that you're stepping onto something extremely hot. Now, we all know that when we touch something hot, no matter what part of the body it is that we touch the hot object with, our initial reaction is to get away from it, right? As quick as we can. Okay? So, when the body feels heat, the muscles respond by getting you away from that heat to hopefully keep you from being burned. Okay, now this burning step works in the same way. So if you have to create a mental image of something hot, there's something hot there. The psychology of it, you've got to think there's something hot here. I'm stepping onto something hot. I've got to get this foot up and off of that hot object as quick as I can. Okay, okay, so when you make this move, this burning step movement, your initial step is going to be approximately 6 inches to a foot. Okay? Now, never do you do a burning step and just raise the foot and lower it to the same point. You've served no purpose. The purpose of the burning step is to explode forward quickly. Just rapid forward movement. Just explode forward as quick as you can. Okay? Now, when we do this burning step, we have to visualize that hot object. It's there. Of course, you can't really see it, but up here, it's there. You're stepping onto something extremely hot. So from your fighting stance, you're going to step forward 6 inches to a foot. You're going to touch down, and you're touching down onto that object that is extremely hot. And you've got to get that foot up. You've got to get it out of the way extremely quick. Okay, now this is where the explosiveness comes from. Okay, now there's two ways that we use this burning step. One is what we refer to as a lead leg jam. Okay, so you do the burning step, you close the gap, and you jam with the lead leg. You may or may not fire a hand technique as you jam with the leg. That would depend on the range of the opponent. That would depend on their position at the time that you engage their energy with your lead leg jam. All right, the other use of this would be to initiate a very quick, very explosive kick. Okay, so this burning step is used to jam or to initiate a very quick entry for a kick. All right, first we'll do the jamming movement. I'll show it to you slow a few times so you get an idea of what we're doing, and then we'll speed it up. I'll show it to you from the front first. All right, from the on guard position, the burning step comes out, it steps. I'm going to do this slow. I'm not going to do it quick. I'm going to do it slow so you get an idea of what we're doing here. Okay, the burning step goes out. I touch down. Okay, now what I'm going for here off of this is what we refer to as displacement. The rear foot is going to displace the lead. In other words, it's going to take the place. It's going to take the position. It's going to assume the position that the lead foot was in. However, the lead foot will be gone because you stepped onto something hot and you've got to get that foot up real quick. Okay, so this foot is going to move forward and take the position of this foot. Now this foot will be going into the jamming position or going into kick. In this case, we're going to jam, and it'll look like this. So I've already made my initial move. Notice that my stance is widened. Okay, now at this point, I go for the displacement, and I jam with the lead leg. Okay. Once again, without so much talking, but just moving into it. We're here, we're here, we're here. Okay? We're here, we're here, we're here. All right, notice when I do this jam, notice that my hands don't just fall, okay? Now, this is a fault that you have to look for when you're training. If your hands are dropping at any time during your footwork training, you need to work on that because it's very dangerous. Because if you do it in training, as I said earlier, you can do it in the street. Okay, so once again from the front, step, jam, touch down into the fighting stance. Okay, now we'll speed it up a little bit. Okay, notice the effectiveness of the jam. Notice the position of the leg. Notice that it covers the center, like so. Jamming anything that may come into its path on the way in. Okay, now the jams I just demonstrated were done without any type of offensive response with the hands. Now this time when I jam, I'm going to deliver an attack with the hands at the same time I jam. It will look like this. Okay, like so. All right, that's the front view. Now the side view. Initial step, the displacement, the jam. Once again, the initial step, the displacement, the jam. Notice the hands up and on guard. All right, now we'll speed it up a little bit. Okay? That's an example of the burning step with the jam. Okay? At this time, I'll be joined by my assistant, Mr. Mark Turkwick, who will demonstrate the drill with the sticks for the burning step with the lead leg jam. On guard, facing the camera. You ready? Sometimes he'll attack, sometimes he won't. Notice that the hands remain on guard. Okay, turn, face me. Side view of the same movement. You ready? Notice sometimes he attacks, sometimes he doesn't. Thank you, Mark. All right. Now, the other purpose for the burning step is with a kick. Okay. Now, in this movement, you initiate the same way. The foot goes out. You step. That's the burning step. Notice the stance widens. Then comes the displacement and the kick. Okay? So, we're here, we're here, we're here. All right, so, burning step, kick. Now this can be fired with a straight kick, this can be fired with a hook kick, this can be fired with a side kick. The most common use for this is the side kick. Okay? Straight kick works extremely well, hook kick works extremely well. Okay, now I'll do the burning step with a kick and I'll demonstrate a variety of kicks. Okay, that's the burning step with a kick. Okay, now Mr. Turkle will join me again, and we'll demonstrate from the front to side with the sticks how this looks with a kick. You ready? Notice the displacement. Notice the quickness of the initial move. Side view. On guard. Notice once again the distance he covers with the initial step. Notice that it's not just up and down. Very good. Okay. This is Jeet Kune Do's burning step, both with the lead leg jam and with the side kick. Okay. Once again, the important thing is to imagine up here that you're stepping onto something extremely hot. The movement has to be extremely quick. In a later volume, you'll see demonstrated what we refer to as the burning step side kick, which is probably the most powerful kick in the martial arts. In the next sequence, we'll go to what we refer to as a stutter step, and you'll see what that's all about. In this segment, we'll be covering a little movement that's referred to as a stutter step. The stutter step is a short step that initiates forward momentum, initiates forward movement. Normally a stutter step would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 inches to 1 foot. And all it is just a basic step off the lead foot. From the fighting stance, once again, using the tape to represent the center line, this is what a stutter step would look like. It's very simple, just step. Notice how it widens the stance. Okay, I just step. Alright, notice only the lead foot moves. It moves 6 inches to a foot, and it's just step. Okay, looking at it from the side, using the tape to mark my starting point. Okay, just step. 6 inches to a foot. Okay, at this point you may be wondering, what is this used for? What's the purpose for this movement? Okay, 2 purposes. It can conceal an explosive initial movement. Also, it can readjust the alignment to better position the body for certain techniques, such as a burning step side kick or a step and slide side kick. Okay, now, what I mean when I say readjust alignment, okay, once again, using the tape to represent the center line, my stutter step can change my body position so that my feet are in a straight alignment. Okay? Straight alignment is not our chosen fighting position, because if I were in a straight alignment and I were facing you as my opponent, this is what it would look like. Okay? Now notice that the rear foot is closed off as a direct straight line attacking weapon. Okay? We don't want that. Okay? We don't want that. We want to keep the rear foot so that it can move straight forward into an attack, such as an oblique kick or a rear leg straight kick, with no hindrance from the position of the lead leg. Okay, now, when I readjust my alignment using this stutter step, notice the right foot moves over so that I get in a straight alignment with the rear foot. Notice also, as I do this, I widen my stance just a little bit. So I'm here, okay. Looking at it from the side, I'm here, I'm here. Okay, now, this straight alignment sets me up for all my power to move in a straight line toward my opponent. Okay? Now, this is what we refer to in Jeet Kune Do as a power line. This way, all the body parts are lined up in the best possible alignment to get the most power into a technique. So, this stutter step is often used to give me that straight line. So, if I were here, I step, I slide, I kick. Notice how, when I make this step, notice now everything moves in a straight line. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Everything moves in a straight line. It's very simple. Very simple. Okay. Also, this will be used in something like a burning step side kick, which you'll see later on demonstrated full contact in the tape on lower body tools, which will be volume 4. Okay, now, this stutter step is often used with what we refer to as stealing a step. Okay, notice when I do the stutter step, changing my alignment, it makes it hard for you to see my rear foot, my rear leg, okay? So, if I make my stutter step, I move forward just a little bit, and I change my alignment, it makes it hard for you to see my rear foot, my rear leg. Okay, now at this point, I may choose to feint or fake with some kind of high line attack, what we often refer to as a projection hand. It could be a punch, it could be a finger jab, but in any case, the rear foot will slide up to the lead while I'm doing this fake, and then a kick goes out. Okay, now what this does, this puts me in kicking range. Whereas before, from here, I was not in kicking range. Now, with this little stutter step, which is barely noticeable and shows no real aggression, I align my legs so that very, very non-telegraphically, I can close that distance by sliding the rear leg up to the lead as I initiate my movement for the kick. So, the stutter step changes the alignment, lines me up straight. The projection hand as the rear foot slides up, and then out goes the kick. Okay, at this time, my assistant, Mr. Mark Turquette, will join me, and I'll demonstrate the effectiveness of this maneuver, and I'll show it to you from several angles. First, we'll look at it like this, on guard. Okay, now, when you feint, you're trying to draw a prescribed response. So this is like attack by drawing, or it could also come under the category of progressive indirect attack. Okay, so from here, I do the stutter step to realign my position, so I'm in a straight line. I fire the feint with the hand. See, I can't really get him here, but see, he's not really sure if I'm going to explode forward or if I'm just going to put a hand out there. So he has to think about this, and he has to judge this real quickly and decide whether to react to it. If he reacts to it and takes the bait, then I steal a step and fire the kick in. So, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Okay, now as you can see, from here, I could not get that kick in there. I could not reach him with that kick. There's no way it could reach him. All right, now, after I've done this stutter step and feinted with the lead hand and done the stealing a step movement, I'm easily within kicking range of Mr. Turquette's body. Okay, to let you see a different angle on that, I'm going to have Mark position himself right here on guard. Okay, now, this way you see it more like it would look like if it were coming at you. Alright, I'm here, I step, stutter step to readjust my alignment. I fire the finger jab feint. As the finger jab feint goes out, I close the gap by stealing a step. Then I fire the kick. Okay, we're going to speed it up a little bit. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Okay, give you a slightly different angle on it. Right here, on guard. Okay, I think you'll see the effectiveness of this particular move. Because the leg is moving up behind the lead, makes it more difficult for the opponent to see it coming. That's why we refer to it as stealing a step, because it's taking place in a way that you steal the distance. They don't see it, they don't know it till it's too late. In the next sequence, we'll cover circling both right and left. In this sequence, we're going to cover what we refer to in Jeet Kune Do as circling. Okay, Circling is actually a very simple movement pattern. It's designed, of course, so that you can circle your opponent. All right. Now, from the fighting on guard position, if I wish to circle right, the right foot moves first. If I wish to circle left, the left foot moves first. So this is very much like sidestepping. In fact, when we circle, what we're actually doing is sidestepping in a circular path. Okay, so sidestepping right, of course, the right foot moves first. So in circling right, the right foot moves first. Now, the foot closest to the opponent will move a lesser distance than the foot farthest from the opponent. This enables you to maintain a proper alignment throughout your circling. Okay, so if we're going to circle right, starting from here, we're going to step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide. Okay? If we're going to circle left, starting from here, of course the left foot moves first. Step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide. Okay? Notice that when I circle, the head moves out in line with the leg, just like before, just like in sidestepping. The head moves out in line with the leg. This is very important in circling because this helps you keep the head lined up properly, helps you keep the head out of the way of a possible incoming attack. Okay, so once again, circling right, circling left. Okay, now notice that as I do this, I'm doing sort of a step slide movement. This can also be just a step movement. You can just step, 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 step. It doesn't have to be step and slide. Of course, in all footwork patterns, the terrain, the environment is what your footwork is based on. Sometimes certain footwork patterns cannot be used on certain surfaces. Or a surface that you might be able to normally use the footwork pattern on, you may not use it because of water or ice. Okay? So, that gives you two variations for the circle step. Okay, I'll be joined by Mark Turkwood, my assistant instructor now, and he will stand with his back to you, straddling the tape line, which represents the center line, and I will circle him so that you can see how this will be applied against an opponent. Okay, I'll start in a position like so, with my center line lined up, angular alignment to Mark's center line. Now his center line will be what I base my circling movement on. I will circle his center line, the line that goes down through the center of his body. Okay, so from the on guard position, if I wish to circle right, right foot moves, left foot moves, right foot moves, left foot moves, right foot moves, left foot moves. If I wish to circle left, left foot moves, right foot moves, left foot moves, right foot moves, like so. Okay, notice at this time that I'm circling sort of close to Mark, but that's just to show you how I use my opponent's center line in relationship to circling. Okay, of course in an actual combative situation I would have to maintain the fighting measure. My distance would be more like so, to keep me outside the fighting measure. Okay, that explains basic circling in Jeet Kune Do. All right, another thing that pertains to circling is what we refer to as a lead pivot. Okay, the lead pivot is very simple. That's if someone is circling you, you want to circle them too? Do you want to do this too? No, don't worry about it. Just use this little move that we refer to as a lead pivot. And just pivot on the ball of the lead foot. And slide the rear foot, whichever direction you need to move. If I need to move, if my opponent is circling me using a circling left pattern, I'll move my left foot to the left. If my opponent is circling me using a circling right pattern, I'll move my left foot to the right. And just pivot on the ball of the lead foot. That conserves motion. So the lead pivot, in a way, is sort of a counter for your opponent using circling step. It keeps you from wasting motion, and it keeps you in proper position, proper alignment with your opponent who is circling you. Okay, That is basic Jeet Kune Do circle stepping, right and left, and the lead pivot. We'll now move to the next segment. In this segment, I'm going to cover a movement that we refer to as a triangle step. The basic use of this triangle step is to change your alignment on an incoming opponent or opponent in a static position. If his position dictates that you should be in an opposite lead or in the same lead, you may need to use this triangle step to change your position to put you where you need to be. Okay, the basic triangle step is really very simple. I can move to the right and get into a stance left lead, or I can move to the left and get into a stance right lead, or I can change from right lead to left lead or left lead to right lead. All these movements can be accomplished using this triangle step pattern. Okay, now if I'm here and I want to go into a right lead and I need to slightly change my angle, I can step straight out to the side with my left foot. Notice once again my head moves out, then my right foot comes in, and then out into position. Okay, once again, my left foot steps out, my right foot comes in, and I'm out into my fighting stance. So, this changes my alignment on my opponent. And in the process of changing my alignment, I don't lose any ground. Okay? So, if I'm predominantly a right lead power side fighter, this movement is the movement that I would most often use when changing alignment and going into my fighting stance when I did not want to lose any ground while doing so. Okay, now, also from this position, I can step out to my right. Notice once again, the head goes out as the leg goes out. Then the left foot moves in and then comes out. Now I'm back in my fighting stance. Notice once again my alignment. I've got a good angular alignment. Now I'm in a left lead. Okay, so I step out right, head goes out too, hands come up, left foot moves in, then out forward. Okay, all right, now I'm going to do just a few of these, moving right, moving left, without talking, so you can see what they look like. Okay. Now, I can also use this to change from a right lead to a left lead, or from a left lead to a right lead. Okay, let's say that I'm here in a right lead, and I suddenly need to change to a left lead. Okay, here, here, here. There's from right to left. Okay, now if I'm in a left lead, I need to go right lead. Here. Okay, I'm in a right lead, I need to go left lead. Here. Okay? Left lead, right lead, right lead, left lead, left lead, right lead, right lead, left lead. Okay, notice how simple this is. All you're doing, you're moving in a triangle. Okay? You have one corner of the triangle to your immediate left, another corner of the triangle to your immediate right, and then the third corner is directly in front of it. Okay, Mark will join me again, and I'll let you see this movement as they relate to an opponent. So Mark will take his position on the center line, on guard. Okay, now let's say that I'm here. I'm in a left lead, and I want to change my angle and go to a right lead. I'm here. I'm here. Okay, let's say I'm here in a right lead. I want to change my angle and go to a left lead. I'm here. I'm here. Okay, left lead, the right lead, the left lead, the right lead, the left lead. Okay? Now Mark will take a position. We'll let you watch this from the side. Okay? I'm here. Okay? I need to change my position. Okay, I can move in here, I can move in here, I can move in here, I can come in here. Okay? Now, let's say I'm here. Let's say I've engaged the hand here. I don't like the energy I'm getting. There's just something about it that I don't like. I don't like the feel. And I decide that I need to change my alignment and engage on the other side. See, that enables me to do that quickly. Okay. From this position, let's say I move in here. I don't like it. I'm here. Okay? Lops out. Right in hand. Okay. I can be here. I can move here. Shoot here. Go here. Go here. Okay? See? Basic trapping from these positions. Alright, now, let's say I'm in a right lead, okay? I need to change my alignment, I need to change my position. I can slide in, I can slide over, in here, like so. Okay, once again, using that triangle. Alright, let's say I'm in a left lead, and I want to go to a right lead, and I want to be on the other side of the center line. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Notice the change. Now you need to train this until it becomes second nature to you, and it's very quick, okay? Right now, we'll let you see it from still yet another angle, rear angle. Okay, once again, markers on guard. I may be in a left lead here, all right? Bring the lead foot in, out, across the center line, back out, okay? Now, I may move in a right lead, engage. I may not like the energy. I may need to change it. So I use the triangle step. Okay, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, here, here. Okay? I'm here, here, here. Alright. That's the basic triangle step. It can also be used with certain footwork at close range, or what we sometimes refer to as sticking or trapping legs. My leg may be engaged in my opponent's lead, and I may need to change my position and come in on another line. So that would be another use for that particular footwork pattern. Okay. That basically covers what we refer to as the triangle pattern. It's a relatively simple movement. You just have to work it and get used to it. In this segment of the tape, I'm going to demonstrate what is referred to as the chasing step. The chasing step is just a variation of your push shuffle. Okay, you have an advancing chasing step, which we often refer to as pursuit. You have a retreating chasing step, which we refer to as retreat. Okay, now, if I'm advancing, in other words, if I'm on the pursuit with a chasing step, it's going to be step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide. Now, this is short, quick movements. This is very high energy movement, very short, quick, high energy movement. Okay, so I'm going to move back here, and I'm going to demonstrate the chasing step moving right at you. From the basic home guard position, just, okay, moving backward, okay, forward, backward, okay. Now, this stepping pattern is used when you may be unsure of what you need to do at the time. You don't want to cover any great distance, but you don't want to just stay still. So you use this as sort of an intermediate movement pattern to give you an advantage here. This chasing step is good when somebody's backing up from you. You chase them using what we refer to as pursuit. Okay? So you pursue. This is the forward movement. This is the advancing chasing step. Okay, if they should suddenly stop, you stop. If they should suddenly move towards you and you're not particularly ready for an attack, you still want to kind of feel them out, you want to see what they're doing, then you can retreat if they move towards you. But you don't want to move back real far like this, using something like a backward burst. You don't want to get that far out of the way. So you wouldn't go like that, okay? Instead, you use that retreat, the chasing step retreat. Okay? If they move back a little bit, advance. If they advance, retreat. Okay, So this just kind of gives you a feeler to gauge the distance, to maintain the fighting measure without getting too far out of range or without overcommitting and getting too deep in range. At this time, Mark will join me again. We're going to show how we drill this chasing step using the clicker sticks. On guard. Okay, now, when I click once, he's going to move forward. When I click again, he's going to stop and immediately start moving backward. When I click again, he's going to move forward. When I click again, backward. So we're moving forward, backward, okay? So he's going to pursue, he's going to retreat. He's going to pursue, he's going to retreat. Back and forth, starting with pursuit. You ready? Good. Okay. Now, notice these are short, quick steps. It's a very quick movement pattern. Very quick. No wasted motion, no wasted energy. Okay. Now I want to show you something that's very important about this chasing step. I'm going to get over here. I'm going to show you something. When you use the chasing step, your footwork pattern, the feet widen, the stance widens, and then you return to the initial starting width. Widen, return, widen, return. Some people, when they do a chasing step, they do the footwork sequence wrong. And like if they were going to advance, they would move the rear foot first and then the lead. That's not right. The idea behind this chasing step is to enable you to almost maintain a perfect fighting stance as you do this movement. Okay, so what we need to do, the lead, if we're going to advance, if we're going to pursue, the lead foot moves first, the rear foot slides up. If we're going to retreat, the rear foot moves first, the lead foot slides back. So you see we approximately maintain that same width that we started from. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect, just approximately the same width. Okay, once again, first we widen, then we narrow. Widen, narrow, widen, narrow, widen, narrow. Now, on the retreat, widen, narrow, widen, narrow, widen, narrow, widen, narrow. Now notice, when I've narrowed, I'm in the correct fighting stance. I'm not here. See, some people, when they retreat, they make the mistake of moving the lead foot first. And they're doing this. Now what they're doing, they're going narrow, widen, instead of widen, narrow, widen, narrow, widen, narrow, widen, narrow. Okay? So, that's a very important part of that chasing step. Okay, now, the next thing I want to talk about, and this is the final pattern that we're going to cover from the basic footwork before we go into some advanced drills that we use to train footwork. This is referred to as a step through. This is very simple, very simple. All you do, if you're in a right lead and you should suddenly find yourself needing to be in a left lead, you just step through. Okay? If I'm in a left lead, I suddenly find myself needing to be in a right lead, I just step through. Okay? So, step through to the rear, step through to the front. Okay? Notice I step, the feet rotate into proper position. I step, the feet rotate into proper position. Notice the hands, they rotate on the center line as I do the step through. They rotate on the center. I don't let them pass and open my center as they pass, nor do my feet move in circles. Okay? Straight line, step through. Hands rotate on the center. Okay? Very simple. All right, now, the only problem that some people have with this is knowing when to step through and what position to step through into. Mark will join me again, and I'll show you this step through. Okay, on guard. Okay, now, if I were here and Mark were in that position right there, in the exact position he's in relationship to me, I would not step through to the front. This is really a bad time to step through to the front because that puts me in striking range of his lead hand. Okay, so if I suddenly found myself at this range and I wanted to step through, I would step through to the rear. Now, this gives me some distance. This gives me some reaction time. Okay? If I were back here and I found myself in a left lead and I needed to get into a right lead, I would step through to the front. Now, I'm right at the fighting measure. Okay, so I step through and I'm ready to explode in. Okay, so I'm in a left lead. I'm back here. I step through to the front. Okay, now, if he shows any signs of advancement while I'm in this left lead, then I definitely would not step through the front unless I was prepared to engage his energy immediately as I came in. Because if I was not prepared to engage his energy and I move in, I'm in striking range and I'm in trouble. Okay, so timing this step through is very important. You've got to know when to step through to the front or step through to the rear. The main time we use this is when we have to assume a fighting stance immediately and the circumstances may not allow us to assume that picture perfect power side forward fighting stance that we're used to. Let's say I'm standing here and an opponent moves in from this direction and I have to take a left lead. So I'm standing here, opponent moves in from this direction, I have to take a left lead because I got to be on guard. I can't just stand here and let him move in and take me out. I've got to immediately get on guard. Okay, now once I've taken this position, then I can gauge my distance and I can determine whether to step through to the front into my power side forward position or to step through to the rear into my power side forward position. So that's what the step through is used for. In the next segment, we're going to demonstrate some of the basic training drills that we use for Junfan Jeet Kune Do footwork. In this segment, we will demonstrate what we refer to as the fitting in footwork drill. It is very important that you're able to fit in with your opponent's movement, gauge the distance, and maintain the fighting measure. A lot of martial artists have problems with the fighting measure. They don't know how to maintain that measure. They have difficulty with that. They often find themselves either inside the fighting measure or too far outside the fighting measure before they realize it. This fitting in drill is to help you learn to move in relation to your opponent, to fit in with his distance, to fit in with his movement, to fit in with his range, and maintain that fighting measure so you're not caught off guard inside the fighting measure or caught off guard too far outside the fighting measure to respond immediately with an attack or with a defense or with an offensive move of your own. Okay, so what we deal with here in this fitting in footwork drill basically is a push shuffle forward, the push shuffle backward, sidestepping right, and sidestepping left. Okay? Once again, the push shuffle, advance, step slide, retreat, step slide, sidestepping, sidestep right, sidestep left. Okay? Now, these are the four movements that we use in the fitting in footwork drill. You face off with a partner just outside or right at the fighting measure, and you try to maintain that distance while going through this. Okay, now, it's possible to do a double sidestep, either right or left. It's possible to do a double push shuffle, either forward or backwards. Okay, now, notice that when I speed this up a little bit, that double push shuffle forward or double push shuffle backward resembles what I showed you a little while ago as the chasing step. That's because when a push shuffle speeds up, it becomes a chasing step. When you multiply a push shuffle, it becomes a chasing step. Okay? So, at this time I'll be joined by my assistant, Mr. Mark Turkwood. He'll assume the Jeet Kune Do on guard position. I'll assume the Jeet Kune Do on guard position. We'll be just at the fighting measure. I'll lead, he'll follow, okay? We're going to show you the side view first, and then we're going to take sort of an oblique angle and let you see an angular view of it so you get an idea of how this works. Okay, now, you ready? Notice how the hands maintain on guard position throughout the drill. Notice how we don't drop the hands. They're either covering or maintaining the on guard position at all times. Very good. Okay, that's what it looks like from a side view. Now Mark's going to take a position here. A little bit closer, Mark. I'm going to take a position here, and we'll demonstrate this on an oblique angle so you can see it at a different angle. You bet? Very good. All right, I think you can see how this fitting in footwork drill helps you learn to maintain that fighting measure. Learn to maintain the distance between yourself and your opponent. It also assists your non-telegraphic movement skills, and it helps you to, on occasion, be a step ahead of your opponent. And you learn to read his movement, forward and lateral. In the next segment, we demonstrate what is referred to as the full pendulum drill. In this segment, we're going to demonstrate what is referred to as the full pendulum drill. Earlier in this tape, you saw what we referred to as the pendulum footwork. What you were actually seeing was the front half and the back half of the pendulum, the forward movement and the backward movement of the pendulum. Okay, now, when you put the two movements together, you have what's referred to as a full pendulum. Okay, so we take the back half of the movement and the front half of the movement, and we have the full pendulum. Okay, but you don't do them like that. You don't do back half, then front half. Okay? When you actually do this, when this is actually applied, the rear foot doesn't even touch down. Okay? In other words, you don't go, this foot doesn't even touch down. Now what you're doing, as I said earlier, when we talked about the pendulum footwork, the backward movement, or the retreating pendulum, is used to evade an incoming low-line attack, such as a side kick. The forward portion of the pendulum is used to launch an offensive attack of your own, such as a side kick. So when we take the full pendulum drill, the purpose of this drill is to train you to retract out of range of a side kick and return immediately with your own side kick to break the opponent's leg. Okay, now when we do this, if we allow the rear foot to touch down, it causes it to take too long, okay? So we don't want to go like so. What we want is that foot to just kick out, okay? Like so. It just kicks out. Then we return with a side kick. So what you have is here, here. Okay, so it never touches down. From the side, looks like this. Okay? See, that enables me to evade a kick and return a kick of my own immediately. My assistant will join me now. Okay? At this point, we'll demonstrate how this is used. Okay, if he moves in to fire that side kick at my leg, I use the first half of the pendulum to evade his movement, like so. Okay, see how that gets me out of the way? All right, now, the next part is to completely move with the pendulum pattern and return a side kick. Not to just go like that or just go like that, but here, here. Okay, notice when I do that, this leg doesn't go real high, okay? It doesn't go like that, because that within itself is wasted motion. You want to tighten this pendulum up. You want to keep it economical. Okay, now, we'll do a couple of slow ones, and then we'll pick it up a little bit. Mark is going to actually be trying to kick me in the knee, so you can see how this works. Okay? See that? Now we're going to speed it up even more. He's going to really fire him in there. He's going to be trying to get that knee. We're going to turn on a different angle this time, so you can see it from an angle. He's going to be really going for it. He's going to try to take that knee out. Okay, like so. Okay, now, we're going to show you a little drill that we do to teach this full pendulum pattern. Okay, this can be bought in most sporting goods stores, golf supply stores. What this is, this slides down into a golf bag for you to insert your golf club. Keeps your golf clubs separated in the bag. Okay. This enables me to hit him fairly hard with this and not do any real damage. Okay. So what we do here, I measure off to a distance so that the last couple of inches of this plastic rod are contacting his thigh just above the knee. Like so. Okay, so this is where I measure off. Now, the object is for him to pick up my intended strike and do this full pendulum and return a side kick without getting hit by the plastic rod on the initial strike. Okay? All right, we'll start off kind of slow so Mark can warm up to the movement. Then we'll speed it up a little bit and let you see how it works. A little closer. Okay, now after each shot, I'm going to re-measure my distance. So I'm sure that I'm gauged properly to give him the most benefit from the drill. Okay, that's where I want to be. About the last 2 or 3 inches of the rod contacting his outer thigh region just above the knee. Don't hit into the knee, hit into the lower thigh just above the knee and to the outside. Okay, a few slow ones to warm up. And now we're going to speed it up a little bit. Okay, you notice he got tapped a few times there. Okay, when we do this full speed, I always tell my student, if this just barely grazes the material on your clothing, your sweatpants, your gung fu pants, whatever you happen to be wearing at the time, if it barely grazes the material, that's the best, because that means that you moved just out of range for any damage to be done, which made you closer to the opponent for the return. If you move too far back, you have further to return. So the closer, the better. So don't waste movement with this full pendulum. Okay, now we're going to speed it up a little bit, and you can see how the drill works under quicker conditions. Once again, I'll be measuring off every time. It's hard not to anticipate. That's something you have to work on. You got to work that out. You got to try to keep from anticipating your partner's movement. Okay, another thing. Notice while I'm doing this that I'm actually maintaining the foot position for the Jeet Kune Do fighting stance. So in a way, I'm sort of conditioning my legs to the fighting stance as I do this drill. Okay, now we'll turn this around and let you see it from the other side. Okay, no warm-up necessary this time. We'll go full speed right from the start. That was very good. That was barely touching the material. Very good. Very close. Once again, very good. Barely touching the material. Okay. That's how that drill works. As you can see, it's not a difficult drill. But the timing is very important. You've got to learn that timing for that full pendulum. That's extremely important in that drill. Okay, the next drill that I'm going to show you is referred to as a hop drill. You'll be seeing that in the next sequence. Okay, in this sequence we're going to demonstrate what is referred to as the hop drill. Okay, the hop drill is sort of an innovative training drill that enables you to get several effects from one drill. One thing you learn to do is to bring your knee nice and high for a jamming movement. Another thing this does, this trains energy and strength into the legs for springing. Okay, you develop a very strong calf muscle for that raised rear heel to spring forward, to spring into action quickly. Okay, so you strengthen the legs, you develop balance here, you learn to bring that knee nice and high for jamming movements. One of the most important things that should be considered during this drill is that the hands remain on guard the whole time. Never do you allow the hands to drop. Now, some people really have problems with the flexibility for this drill, but the idea is to bring the knee at least solar plexus high. That way you know that it's going to do its job well in a jamming movement. Okay, I'll demonstrate some of the basic patterns that you'll see during this hop drill, and then I'll call my assistant in and I'll show you how we use the clicker sticks to train the hop drill, and you can get a training partner or just anyone to help you, and you can do this drill yourself at home. Okay, some of the basic moves that you see in the drill, we normally start from here with the hands directly in front of the chest, elbows in and down, feet basically squared about shoulder width apart. Okay, this is how we start the drill. Okay, now we'll either bring the right knee up or we'll bring the left knee up. What we usually do is alter, and what we do while this knee is brought up, we hop. We keep it on the ball of the foot, okay? We keep it on the ball of the foot. That's very important. The heel should never touch. Remember, you're developing spring in the legs. You're strengthening the calf muscles. So the heel should never touch. This is fantastic conditioning for the legs, for the cardiovascular system, for the whole body. Okay, I'll demonstrate some of the basic movements that you'll see. Okay, right knee up for a right leg jam. Notice how high the knee is. Notice the hands maintain the on guard position. Notice that the toe of the lead foot is pointed down. Okay? Left knee coming up. Starting position, knee up, and I'm hopping. Okay, notice the knee. Solar plexus high, hands maintaining on guard, toe pointed down on the lead foot. The heel is not touching the floor. Okay? That's how that one looks. All right, now, I'll let you see this from the side so you'll notice the positioning of the lead leg. Okay, starting from the square position, hands in front of the chest. Right knee up. Left knee up. Notice this requires a certain amount of balance, okay? To make the drill even more difficult, yet more beneficial, sometimes I make the students turn either once or twice while they're in this position. I'll demonstrate some basic rotations. First with the right knee up, rotating clockwise. With the left knee up, rotating counterclockwise. With the right knee up, rotating counterclockwise. With the left knee up, rotating clockwise. Okay, you can see how much balance this requires. Sometimes I'll make them do 2 rotations, sometimes 3 rotations. All right, my assistant will join me now. We'll demonstrate how this works with the clicker sticks. Okay, he'll be bringing the right knee up, then the left knee. So he'll be alternating right knee, left knee. If, after he raises his knee, I command him to turn, I'll say either clockwise or counterclockwise, and he'll respond. You ready? Counterclockwise. 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 Clockwise. Two turns clockwise. Two turns counterclockwise. Very good. Okay, now you see how the hop drill works. You see how it can improve the efficiency of your movement. It can improve the explosiveness of your footwork. It conditions the legs. It, to a certain degree, works your flexibility on getting that lead knee up nice and high. Notice that the heel never touches the floor. Notice that the lead toe is pointed down. Notice also that the lead leg maintains a position right on the center line, okay? All right, those are the important elements of that hop drill. Make sure the hands are on guard at all times. That completes the footwork portion of this tape. I'd like to thank you for joining us in Volume 2 of Jeet Kune Complete, Footwork and Mobility. And I hope you'll join us for Volume 3, Upper Body Tools. As you can see from this tape, once again, we tried to go more in depth than any other instructional video series on Jeet Kune. We tried to show you more about the how, the why, and the when, and not just show you the movement without fully explaining it to you. These tapes run a little bit longer, but I think you get a lot more out of them than you would if I just said, okay, this is how this looks, and that's it. Okay? So, we're trying to go a little bit more in depth and offer you a lot more by doing so. There will be 20 tapes in this series. If you would like information about the other tapes available, or information about the United States Jeet Kune Alliance, you can write to me, Sifu Lamar M. Davis II, 267 West Valley Avenue, Suite number 223, Birmingham, Alabama, 35209. Or you can call area code 205-664-5425. I would be glad to hear from you anytime. Anytime you're in the Birmingham, Alabama area, feel free to drop by my school, Fighting Dragons Chinese Martial Arts Academy, located in Alabaster, Alabama, which is just south of Birmingham. We have the most complete training facility for Jeet Kune in the state of Alabama. You're welcome to drop by anytime and see what we have to offer. Once again, if you're interested in the United States Jeet Kune Alliance, please contact me. The purpose of the alliance is to preserve and promote the original teachings of the late Bruce Lee. We hope you've enjoyed this tape, Footwork and Mobility, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Volume 3, Upper Body Tools. Thank you.